Hi everyone, this is Keshia, your vibrational energy healer. I am here to speak about committing suicide and the impacts. Okay, what's really rising me to do this was something that happened recently, where someone that lived in proximity of where I live, it happened a few days ago, apparently had taken her own life. I hadn't seen her too often, in the times that I had seen her. Her energy felt a little off, but she really wasn't communicative, so to speak. Needless to say, it still affected me energetically. After everything happened, I picked up. It just felt really, really heavy, and I had to kind of really clear my mind and space because it was very traumatic. As much as you can know what's going to happen on the other side, and know how you can pick up you could pick up energetically with things. That doesn't matter how much you know spiritually. This is what I'm trying to spit that out of my mouth. Doesn't matter how much you know spiritually. It doesn't erase the human factor of who you are as a human being and what you feel when something like that happens. You know what I mean? And to know that she was that hurt and that upset, that felt like the only way out, that was painful, and to know that she was dealing with so much pain, mentally and emotionally, that's saddening, because she needed the help, and it prompted me to do this video because I remember last year I was working and helping out where the folks there had like a disability, so they had something physically wrong with them. Something happened to them in their life where they needed assistance. So they were like in a home and helping people. Okay. And I brought this up too because it's like another example where I remember one day I was helping and this one lady was brought in and she was an attempted suicide. And it didn't work out, so she's still here. But the challenge is now she's still here, but she's like a vegetable, She's incapable of moving. The gunshot missed wherever she was, where it would have taken her out, and they were able to save her. But she is not mentally here, like she's not physically able to talk or do a lot of the things. And this is it's going to probably be a painful subject for some people to listen to this, but I'm just going to give you the 411 heads up of where I'm going, because if you're going through a lot of energetic changes, if you're feeling misunderstood, if you feel like your life, it has no meaning, that no one in your life has your back or wants you or any of that stuff, I want you to know that someone does care. That there are going to be a lot of assholes in life. All right, there's going to be a lot of folks that you come across that may feel like they don't give a shit, that they don't have you in your corner. You may speak to them, you may be related to some of them, and they might come across as though they care about you, but then you feel as though that they don't. So what do? The thing is, you gotta stop caring what everyone else thinks and how everyone else perceives you. Okay? That in this life, a lot of things aren't going to be cookie cutter great the way you anticipate. It's not going to be like TV, okay? The healing process of forgiving, letting go, losing attachment, trying to think better, making your life better, it's going to be like it's going to be like the stock exchange. Like, you see how that little line goes up and down? That's how it can be. And that's actually a part of life. Now, the challenge is learning how to kind of cope with those feelings and learning how to cope with getting out of that anxiousness or the anxiety that you may feel, the pitfall stomachs that you're going through, the racing thoughts that might go through your mind that says, you know what, it's time to go. Life's going to be better on the other side. That you don't have to deal with this. If I get rid of this, that my pain's going to go away. It actually doesn't, because I've seen spirits, and the ones that took themselves out, it ain't going no better either on that end. So you're almost kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like there's no way out of your real issue, honestly. And if you think I'm BSing you on the spirit side, let me share a story with you. All right, and I have pictures. I have to see if I can find them, because I remember I shared it with somebody before, and we were trying to figure it out. So here's the backstory with the spirit on the other side. Okay, and was this one a suicide? I gotta remember. I don't remember. I think he overdosed, but I don't think he did do it intentionally. But there was another one who did. Alright, so I'll start with the one that I knew personally, that he overdosed, but I didn't realize he didn't know until later. So here's what happened. Okay, here's the deal. So years ago, a friend of mine's child's father had he had a lot of problems, but anyway, he died. Okay, and I'm not trying to be insensitive about it the way I say it, but I'm just going to tell the story the way it happened. So he passed away, and in hindsight, while I'm telling the story, it might seem like, oh, Keshia, you should have figured it out. But no, who thinks about things like this? So fast forward a couple years later, I'm in my home with my children. We come home from church. Of course, I'm not thinking about a death, because that happened years ago. So I'm laying with my children in our living room. We just got back from church. And as I'm doing that, I took some pictures. Back then I had like multiple animals. I had a cat, a dog, and a hamster. So I'm taking pictures of the hamster. While I'm taking pictures of the hamster, like they're holding him, and the hamster, while we were taking pictures, was because he had his little hands up like this, like he was praying. So we thought it was cute. So of course I'm taking pictures of that. And while we're doing that, right, I was just like, we just took pictures, and that was the end of it. So like 2 or 3 days later, I'm going to go post this thing on Instagram, and I did. I believe it is still on my Instagram picture. So I'm looking back at my post, like, we all do. Like, you post something that you kind of want to see. And while I'm looking at it, I was like, wait a second. Well, who's that in the background? So the living room I had 2 sliding glass doors. So one on each side, and there was a fireplace in the middle. And then there was a big deck and a fenced-in yard. And the fenced-in yard was always locked, right? So when I looked in the picture, it looked like someone was standing on my deck. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So then I pick up my phone through my gallery, and I'm scrolling through all the pictures, right? And it's like the person disappears. So I was like, so I show my kids, and they're like, creepy. So we're all like weirded out with this whole thing, right? And there was a friend on Facebook, I think her name was Christine. She and I were talking about like weird experiences, and this was like a couple years ago, and we shared this experience, and I showed her the pictures, and we were like, whoa. And like, this dude looks like he has on like a white shirt and a baseball hat and all this other stuff. So didn't find out who he is, didn't know what it was. The whole thing creeped me out. I went to someone else, asked them about the whole thing, and they were like, well, this person knows you. And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I have no idea why he's coming to me or whatever. But back then I was kind of still scared of stuff like that, so I didn't want to know. So fast forward at least another 5 years forward. Now I'm living here, right? And I'm on the phone with a girlfriend. So this was like about 3 or 4 years ago from today, And I'm on the phone with a friend of mine, and my dog's barking in the backyard. And I'm like, well, I don't know why he's barking. Like, I don't see anything why he's barking. And he doesn't usually bark unless something's out there. And I was like, well, I don't physically see something for him to be barking. Long story short, I start telling her the story I just told you. Out of nowhere, it just kind of came to me. So intuitively, I guess I was picking up on something. So I'll show you why I mean that. So as I'm talking to her, she was like, well, she's trying to show me how to like see, because back before I was very fearful of seeing things, and so she's coaching me, and then she hears this person talking to her, and as she hears this person speaking to her, oh God, she's telling me how he knows me and blah, 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 blah. So I'm rattling. I'm trying to now I'm really racking my brain. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. And she said, I guess he's been following me, whatever. Long story short, it's the man. It's him. The one, my friend's father of the child. And he, the baby daddy. And he, was trying to connect with me, and he didn't know he was gone, okay? And as a result, he was still trying to do the same things. So energetically, spirit-wise, all of that was still there, And the things that he was sharing with me, there's no way I would ever have known, or she would never have known. So he told her a bunch of things, and then after that I kind of allowed, and then I was able to receive that and hear from him what he was trying to say. I don't really hear them anymore in regards to ghosts or people that passed on. My energy level's higher than to hear that right now, but he started to share with me certain details. And between him and a couple other ones, I realized that things that were going on emotionally and energetically with you here, it doesn't really go away when you cross right over if you stay here on this plane like earthbound. If you transition over, if your spirit has a calling or a path it's supposed to go to, what happens is you kind of still want to fulfill the same path. So say you wanted to learn, I don't think you generally pick out, well, I want to be molested or beaten or burnt at the stake in this next life, but I think you choose certain life lessons you want to learn and overcome, and those may be the things that happen to get you through it. Now, I say this all because life is always going to give you lemons. Well, none of us on this planet are going to escape bad things. The severity of how bad, now that's different per person. And emotionally, how much you can take and handle, that's different per person. And what you choose to let go of and try to believe in yourself, that is your strength. Okay, that is what will pull you up. Now, growing up, for me, I've grown up where I had a family next door where they took in foster kids all the time, right? And I bring this up because it was very strong of them to embrace the troubles that these children may have been going through, and to give them the love and the home and the nurturing that they needed to grow into adults, and to give them some levels of stability. And I remember a child as young as 2 years old who was molested by a father. And I remember a little boy who they found in feces and where the parents weren't feeding him. And that boy has grown up, and I believe he's successful now. I don't know about the little girl, but I've watched other ones that have gone in and out through there where they had to learn to let go. And it's may not be easy for everyone, because outside of them, that shaped me in my childhood to understand the dynamics of how different upbringing can be for someone. My father wasn't raised by parents. Most of the men I've ever dated weren't raised by parents. And I'm being very candid about this because I really understand the emphasis of how important it is to have a nucleus family. How important it is for a human being to want that love and nurturing from their mother. And even with helping people, like when they come to me and they're on my table and I'm doing the healing session, or if we're doing a distant healing session, how many of them have this heartache because they had this like fucked up childhood? Excuse my language. I don't mean to offend you, but some people had like fucked up childhoods, or they had these really crazy upbringings, and it's hard to mentally overcome what someone has done to them and raped them of their innocence, and I'm here to sympathize with you because I get it. Like, if you've gone through these bad things, or maybe you feel like you've always been judged and no one understands you. One person might judge you and think like, oh, well, you didn't have it that bad because you weren't molested and beaten and raped and all this other stuff. You just can't understand. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how that person is receiving that treatment and their emotional stability to handling that. And when you start to focus on positive things, like finding things that you love doing that makes you happy, whether it's eating ice cream, dancing, going out for a walk, changing your mental state, changing your state to doing something that brings you joy, it's easier for you to be able to shift your mindset from there to there. And then learning that not only are you learning to look at your situation, the experience that's happened to you from a different perspective. Okay, because when you start to do that, it can put you in the position to learn to forgive the situation, which I have videos on this stuff already, so you can always watch the other videos to understand things. Forgive the person, forgive the situation, and this is the part that might piss you off when I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, because this is one thing that needs to happen, is forgive yourself. You may not feel as though you did anything wrong, but forgiving yourself for allowing this pain to sit with you for so many years or so many days is something that needs to occur so you can start to really love yourself again. And we are quick to say, well, I'm not going to forgive this person because they did this, and this, and because they did these things, they took these things away from me. And I won't discount and say that's not true, but the forgiveness is not for them. No, the forgiveness is for you to release this pressure, this energy, this weight off of you. Because that negative energy that they gave you from making you experience this thing is only creating harm on your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul. And if you decide to take pills, or use a razor, start slicing yourself, or crash your car into something. I'm not going to give you ideas how to do this stuff because you watch enough movies. But I'm telling you now, whatever way you decide that you're going to do it, if you fail at it, that's going to be the biggest messed up part about everything. You're going to live through something now with a permanent... If you think you didn't like yourself before, now it's going to be even harder because now you're alive, living more incapacitated than you were before. Two, if you do succeed with it, the payoff with that is you're going to have to come back, start over fresh with somebody new, probably in a reincarnation, doing the same thing all over again. I had a spirit come and tell me that before too, and that's not good. Whether you choose to believe me or not, that's on you. I had a friend where their brother, when they passed away, he apparently had done the same thing too. And when I was just calling for condolences, his spirit came through and he was showing me things. And I realized later he did try to, he wished me happy holidays or something, but things I hadn't seen him in years. I hadn't seen him in over a decade, but it's the same thing. You know, like now he's moved on, he's transitioned. You know, and if he decides to come back, that may be something he has to kind of go back through again. So with all that coming back and forth, and I'm sorry this video is so long, here's another thing that happened, is that karmically some of your own mental and emotional turmoil in this lifetime may not all be from this lifetime. Because you might say, well, okay, well, I didn't really go through any of the crazy stuff that Keshia just said just now. I haven't been locked in closets or this or that. But I just feel like no one understands me. You know, and I've been trying to be on the spiritual walk and awakening, and I'm lonely, and I can't take being lonely. If that's happening, then practice the gratitude. Start finding good things. You could start with, you know, at least I have all my fingers and toes, or maybe if you don't have all your fingers and toes, I'm breathing, I'm still alive. You know, I have something, I have internet or some kind of function to even watch Keshia right now. Start with those things to be grateful. You have your eyes to see, you have your ears to hear, you have simple things like that. You can see the sky, the blue sky, and you find little things to be grateful for to start raising your state. And you do these things because it's important you feed your temple, this is your temple, your body, with the positive nourishment things that you need. If no one else did it for you all this lifetime, screw them, you know, and start doing it for yourself. It may be the hardest thing you have to do. You might have lost your breasts and everything, but you need to dig deep to find that love to give to you. Okay, because if you don't give yourself this love, no one else will give it to you. So it's almost like you have to command the love to come into your life and really be this presence. And when, just like you hear me say, when you shift, everything's around you else shift. That's what will start to happen. Each day, just trying to find a way to practice gratitude. Listen to something positive in the morning. Don't get on social media and scroll, because then you're going to train your brain to look for flight or reactions and to be reactive and to get that little fix and hit that you need every day. Listen to something positive. Exercise. Drink a glass of water. Take a walk. And if you start to feel down or depressed, do this again, you know. Watch the things that you're eating. No sodas, none of those crazy carbs. Drink fruit. Eat fruit. You can drink fruit too. Make a smoothie. Have your vegetables. Really stay away from like the gluten and the things that will make your head, and the sugars, because all of that impacts your thinking, and it'll really have you focus on the negatives. It'll keep you locked into the drama. It'll have you thinking that nobody cares, and it'll allow that negative energy to really consume you and have you feeling bad about yourself and telling you crazy things like, you're not worthy, you suck, you're terrible, you're all this stuff. When I'm here to tell you that you are created out of love, even if your parents are crazy, okay? Who cares what they were? Maybe war was going on when they were conceiving you. I have no idea. It could have been crazy. Who knows? But you, even out of something crazy, just think about how many times you walk past on the concrete and you see like this little weed growing through, and it actually looks green and pretty, even though it's still a weed, And even that found a way to have life in something hard. And that's how you are. All right. I came into this world, and within my first few days of living, I was fighting for my life. They didn't think I would be here. And then I've had several other instances, which I'm not going to consume you here with that, but I've had my share of life-threatening things, and it's just something that we're here for some reason. When we're going through crap, it doesn't feel like there's a straightforward answer. Yeah, we know there must be a good reason for it, and the reason just doesn't seem to appear while we're going through it. But if you focus on what feels good to you, it will work itself out. Okay? If what feels good to you is cutting up yourself, then you have to really identify what the word good mean. Okay? So go slap yourself one time real hard. Tell me if that feel good. Or smile and watch something funny and see if that feel good. And one out of two gonna make you feel good, and one not gonna feel too good. If the slap feel good, then pinch yourself real hard and pinch till you and tell me if that feels good. If that doesn't feel good, and then try watching something funny and see if you can laugh again. Because if you can't, you gotta find what makes you happy. You know, and for some folks, if you find this video, maybe not. But if for some folks, maybe it doesn't feel like you'll ever find happiness again. And you might need to talk to somebody, like a hotline or a therapist or something. Or you can contact me, you know. And let's dig into energetically what's going on and conversation-wise what happened in your life. And if you need me to help you get through that forgiveness section, let's work through that together to help get you back on track. Because you're not in this alone. You're not. There's like how many billion people on this planet, you know, and you can't let one moment. You could, but you shouldn't. But what's best for you to recover out of, you know, going one way or the other with this situation is to really, what can I say? Forgive. And really do the things that I was mentioning to help you overcome what you're dealing with. Because it's not about what everybody else wants or thinks. Screw what everybody else wants or thinks from you. Okay? Some people in your life, you may never be able to change them. You might just have to walk away. But you might feel so mentally blocked that you can't walk when you really can. You just don't know which step to go. And you might be scared. That's another animal. Not that you can't walk. You might feel like you're in a life-threatening situation. And you may be. I won't discount that you may not be. But if you are in a life-threatening situation, pray. Whether you want to pray to a higher power, God, Source, Jesus, I don't know. Pray. I'm going to send some energy now, as a matter of fact. In prayer for you to find the clarity that you need to value your life, to love yourself, to honor the body that you were given, to see how beautiful, how abundant things are around you, how magnificent your life is, and for little symbols to appear into your life so you can start to identify that your life has a meaning. For the angelic team around you, because you do have one, whether you believe it or not, to start speaking to you, to start giving you the love, to give you the positive vibes, for allowing you to see that you are worthy, that you aren't an empty cause, and that things here are for you. And that the painful things that you might think feel good right now because it feels better than the emotional trauma you're feeling is not, it's just an illusion. That love is the answer, and that you do have love within you, and that you do have the power to forgive and move forward. And I wanted to touch on all the things here because I need it to resonate with you. I want you to feel the light and the energy coming from my heart. You might even, if you close your eyes right now as you're listening, you might feel a lightness in your chest, tingling in your throat, being able to speak your truth, and being able to cry and release, let the tears heal and release the things that have been paining you in your heart and in your life. the struggles you've been carrying in your back, the pains that you've been feeling physically throughout your body because of the levels of stress and pain that you're carrying. I'm just sending as much energy as possible to anyone that watches this that feels as though that life can't go on, that they've been depressed and there's nothing that can help them. Okay? There is something that can help you, and if you just believe in the power, because it's so many times that we put all of our trust in someone else to give us the answers that we're looking for, and to give us hope, and to give us clarity. And we always expect it from someone, from a particular person you may be calling and they don't answer their phone. And then you really feel down because maybe you were there for them. And that level of expectancy is robbing you of other things to appreciate in your life. So I've heard a long time ago, expectation is the enemy of appreciation. And if you think how that plays out in your life, I want you to really start to embrace, look at the things that you've had expectations on, so that way you can start to remove it one by one in your own time, so you can start to appreciate another aspect of your life. Because life is short. And how much of it do you want to fill with the bad memories or the one moment in time that happened? You know, the accident, the loss of a friend or your husband or wife, or the pain, the emotional pain from someone speaking bad words to you. That happened in a certain time frame. It's probably about really this big. But what happens is we can allow that pain of it to last this much of our lives. And when we have the choice to actually let it go, and I know it's painful, I know it's hard to say, let me forgive this person for doing this to me. Let me forgive this person, or let me forgive people for overlooking me, for allowing myself to feel less than. Let me forgive myself for putting myself through this mental anguish that lasted this long over something that happened this time. And if you do a coaching session with me, we can dig to find out where this is coming from. You'll be surprised some of the relief that you'll have with this. And because the folks that I have helped, and they told me that they have thought about things like that, they're fine now. Okay? The ones that I didn't talk to, and that I've talked about in this video today, are the ones that are going to have to, their path, of course, took another direction. And I didn't know, but it's here. And if someone wants help, or if you've given up 100%, if you've given up, I've helped people online where they said they had given up, and I sat with them to let them see certain things, because maybe you lost custody of your children and you don't know how anything's going to happen, or you're fearful of their life. All kinds of things. There's so many reasons why people are in this situation, and I'm sensitive to all of that. And you're not alone. You'd be surprised how many people have things going on in their life. And this is why I dedicate so much time to do these videos, to write blog posts, to do the thing, to create the app that I've created, and create these coaching programs, is because I know people are hurting on the inside, And my light, it brings people to walk up to me. They'll do one or two things. If they're really in a negative state, or they're nasty, like they're enemies towards me, they might not want to be seen by me, so they run the opposite direction. They run for the hills. But people that are hurting have a way of just kind of just sharing things, and then when they're done, they're like, I don't even know why I told you all of that. And I know why, and it helps when they are able to talk it out, and it will help you if you're able to talk it out. But it's finding the right person, because sometimes when you're in that ship that you're in right now, your shipmates ain't that great. So they only gonna bring you down to throw you off the boat. So you might as well get off the boat and find somebody who actually can help you. Go to a complete stranger. Come to someone like myself. You know, I've had folks. I've even had like a doctor. She was in my car with me the other day, and she was like, "Oh wow, you're better than my therapist. You gave me more insight on my ex-husband than what I've been through." So it's like, it's crazy what works when you're dealing with spiritual and energetic things, and how it can really give you breakthroughs. All right. Now, this is a lot longer than I normally have my videos, but this is something I really wanted to be clear on, and I'm still sending this energy. So if you're still feeling something coming through on your heart space, let me know. Comment below. I would love to hear if you felt like coolness or heat or tingling down your back, something opening up in your head. What's being sent out is for anybody that wants clarity. I'm sending that energy out here, so you might feel like something in your brow. If you've been wanting just to find answers and know more, that's why you're feeling it here. Your heart space, I'm healing your emotions. That's why a lot of that's coming from the heart. And I really wanted to not only just give words of realness here. It's to speak my truth about the situation. I'm going to be candid and frank, as well as being as sensitive as I can about this, because it's a serious thing. You know, there's so many kids out here right now, especially young ones. They're coming in here. They're hardwired completely different, and they're being given to parents that don't understand how to raise them. They communicate differently. They speak. Some of them are very telepathic, and their whole way of dealing with things is 10 times different than any generation over 30. And it's hard for them to cope on a spirit level on how to cope with life, you know, and they're breaking down. So now you see more youth. It's not, we can say the gadgets, and yeah, the gadgets have a thing to do with it, but these kids are also coming in a lot different. And it's not till you really, I have 3, so it's not really, and a lot of parents may not want to do what I'm doing, but mine are pretty good. And I know it's because I made myself open and aware to what's really going on. And like, for instance, there's times I talk to my child and I was like, they don't respond. And then I'm like, why aren't you answering me? And then they're like, I did. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And they're like, I did. I said da-da-da-da. And I'm like, so now I'm realizing they feel when they respond up here that they said something. And a lot of parents might say, oh, it's because of the gadgets. These kids aren't social. They don't know how to be social anymore. Blah, 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 blah. Then they kind of dig on the child, and the child feels like, okay, well, I can't do anything. I'm not good enough. I'm so bad. And blah, 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 blah. And then they start to get depressed. All of these things do play a factor, but there is one solid thing at the root energetically that's going on. And the more we identify with the fact that these kids are different, the easier life will get, because you're dealing with the root of the problem versus the surface issues of handing them gadgets to keep them busy as babysitters and not be social with friends. Okay, so it's a big gambit. I'll go into that in another video, but I really wanted to touch more on this whole suicidal stuff, because it's a serious thing. When I'm talking about anxiety, when I'm talking about depression, and going into feeling better, I'm not just doing it because I have nothing else to do. It's because I understand there's a lot of pain and hurt. When I see there's so much war and crime and things going on, there's a root problem to that person acting out in anger to begin with. Like, we have to get down to the very grassroots of everything. And until we start really having these hard conversations with ourselves and really taking ownership of how we're impacting someone else and maybe pushing them to a point of where they feel that they're bullied or they feel less than, we're all kind of a part of the problem. I'm switching gears. I'm not just talking to the person that may have been feeling to commit suicide. I'm speaking to the person, everyone, of being sensitive to the fact that everyone, you're not the only one with a problem. A lot of people have things going on, you know? So why not exercise gratitude and try having a level of positivity to be kind to the next person, so that way you can actually be that change. Yeah, be the change. So if you have a question, please comment below. I don't want anyone to harm themselves or feel like doing anything like that is satisfactory or good. That's not good to your temple. You weren't born with that type of, with anything harming your temple. Be kind to your temple. Okay? And even if you don't believe you should be kind, just keep trying. You might try and be good for a little bit, then screw up and be terrible again. Just keep trying. Eventually it'll become a habit and then after it becomes a habit, it becomes a ritual where you start to just love yourself, you know? It might take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It depends on you. How long you feel like feeling pain. You know what I mean? So try loving you. And do this by releasing the things that don't serve you. And I hope this message serves you well, and I hope it helps someone. If you know someone who may be upset or angry all the time or depressed, maybe this is something they need to hear. They might write a bunch of hate stuff on my thing, hopefully not. But whatever, if that's the way they're going to get their anger out, then that's just the way they're going to get their anger out. Anger is anger from pain, from hurt. And at the end of the day, the anger is just a reflection of hurt. Okay? Anytime someone's lashing out, they're hurt on the inside. And it's a cry for help. And you weren't born that way. You were taught that way. So whoever was in your life taught you that crazy nonsense. And we've been through it. I've been through it. So there's help, and you can do this with yourself, and you can get someone like myself to help you, or you can start listening to the good things that are all here to help you recover and overcome, understand, be that change that you want to be. And you can find laughter in something again. Alright, I'm just being silly now. So, don't want to ramble. Want to kind of put this to an end. But if you do need one-on-one, just hit my website link. And we can go from there. I'm sure there's like a package or some course on there that can help you. As well as you can sign up for like a healing session. Alright, we can do like a distant healing over the phone. And go from there. Alright, so subscribe, like the channel if you know anybody that might benefit from this. Please hit share, and I will see you again next time.